Can you heal your relationship with food, pursue food freedom, pursue intuitive eating if you still want to lose weight? That is the question that we are answering in today's episode. I am honestly so excited, so let's get right into it. Welcome to the Live Unrestricted podcast, a show where you'll learn how to heal your relationship with food and your body so that you can focus your time and energy on more important things like your personal growth. I'm your host, Sabrina Magna, food freedom coach, and my mission is to help make your life happier and healthier without stress, overwhelm, or guilt about food. If you love the show, please do go out and share it. And if you're looking for support with your relationship with food, details about my programs are in the show notes. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump in. All right, welcome back to the Live Unrestricted podcast, my friend. I am so grateful that you're here. We have been getting so many new listeners over the past couple of months. And so if you are new here, welcome to the community. I am so glad that you're here. And if you've been an OG, just thank you for continuing along with me. This is an episode where there's going to be times where I love every single episode that I do on this podcast, but there are some times where I'll get a hit an inspiration or someone will ask me a question and I just feel so lit up to answer it, to give you some perspective, some insights. And this is one of those episodes. I've just been foaming at the mouth, so excited to record this because this was a question that I received in my DMs on Instagram this week. If you don't follow me on Instagram, Sabrina Magna Health is where you can find me. I love being in the DMs and talking to you guys and having conversations, answering your questions. And so this was a question that I got, and I actually told her, I was like, I'm going to do a podcast episode on this because I know that you are not the only person who is feeling this way or who is wondering this. So the question that she asked me was, do you think that it's bad to have a preference for how your body looks, like a leaner version that is still healthy and have freedom with food? Whew, that is such a good question. And chances are that if you have struggled with your own relationship with food, with yo-yo dieting and body image, and now you're like, I want to have peace, I want to have freedom, I want to be able to just feel normal around food, but I also want to feel good in my body. I also want to feel confident. I want to like my body. Then maybe you feel like there isn't really space for you right now because maybe you've pursued intuitive eating, the traditional route, and got this sense that to pursue intuitive eating, you have to just have no goal or desire to lose weight anymore. And then maybe you felt like you didn't belong in that space because no matter how much work you did on your body image, you still had this desire to be in a different body, in a smaller body. And so maybe you got the sense of okay, intuitive eating isn't right for me. And then it's okay, well, where do I go? Because I don't want to diet anymore. And it can feel so confusing to know what is my space? Where do I go? Who do I turn to for advice and for support? Because I want to feel good in my body and I also want to have a healthy relationship with food. So that's what we're talking about in today's episode because I have so much to share with you and so much clarity. I know that you're going to walk away from this episode being oh, okay, this makes so much sense. I kind of imagine it as if your brain right now feels this snow globe that's been shaken up. By the end of this episode, it's going to be all settled to the ground and you're going to have so much clarity on what to do moving forward. And if you feel like there's someone in your life who is in the same space as you, is wondering these same questions, send them this episode. Share this podcast. That is the way that we get in the ears of more people and we get to really put power, manpower or women power behind this movement to all of us reclaim our inner confidence, our inner strength, our inner power. So that's what really this podcast is about. But before we get into it, real quick, I do want to share two things. Well, one and a half things that I know that you're really going to love. So number one, something that's really exciting going on in my business right now is that I was honored to be invited to be part of a bundle, a giveaway. So it's called the Nourished and Free Giveaway. And basically what this is, it's a free bundle of 25 free resources that run the gamut from intuitive eating, free resources and free mini courses, to body image, to perimenopause, movement, boundaries, confidence. All of these resources are like curated, and really every expert that is contributing to this bundle, I feel so honored to be part of it. You've got Christy Harrison. If you know who Christy Harrison, the author of Anti-Diet and the Wellness Trap, who, little spoiler alert, I have been such a huge fan of Christy Harrison for a long time, and she's actually going to be a guest on the podcast in a couple of weeks. So that is going to be super exciting. You have that to look forward to. We've got Brie Campos. Like, there are just really, really amazing experts that are contributing to this free bundle. And the coolest thing is that one of the biggest drivers for me in my business is being able to give back to people who have less, to the environment, right? Being in overflow so that I can help others. And so what I really like about this giveaway is that every sign up, and remember that every sign up is free, every sign up will then lead to a $1 donation to the period.org charity. So this is a nonprofit dedicated to ending period poverty and stigma. So period poverty affects 1 in 4 teens, 1 in 4 in the US. So many of whom miss school because they can't afford or access menstrual products. And globally, this is even worse. So just like diet culture, it's another way that women are taught to shrink, stay silent, or feel ashamed of their bodies. So this giveaway is about breaking those patterns. So every sign up leads to a $1 donation to this charity, which is just so awesome to me. So if you would like to grab this free bundle, all you have to do is be on my email list. So if you're on my email list, you're going to receive an email that's going to show you exactly how you can sign up for it. So if you're not on my email list, then all you got to do is go to site.sabrinamagna.com/newsletter. And to make things easier for you, I will put that link in the show notes. And if you're already on my email list, then you don't have to worry about it. You're going to receive an email about it. And if you're looking for one of my free resources that are going to be so valuable in your healing journey, I have a free training called How to Stop Feeling Obsessed with Food. I go deep into my 4-step method that has helped thousands of women finally eat without guilt, obsession, or overeating. So to get that free training, you can also go to the show notes or sabrinamagna.com/training. All right, so let's get into today's topic. Is it bad to have a preference for how your body looks? So when I hear that, what I'm really hearing is the question underneath the question, which is it possible for me to have a healthy relationship with food, to have food freedom, while also having a desire to lose weight and having a preference for being in a thinner body? The very short and simplified answer is it is absolutely possible to have a healthy relationship with food while also having a preference for how your body looks. That is the simplified answer. Because then if we go deeper into nuance, which is what I'm all about, we have to first make sure that we understand the difference between a preference and a need, because this is going to help you get really clear on what is the intention behind my desires, what is the intention behind what I'm focusing on. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you're going to know by now that intention matters so much. So the definition of a preference is that it's a desire or a choice among options. So you could live without it, but it makes life more aligned with your taste. For example, I'd rather wake up early than stay up late at night. I'd rather work in the morning than at night. I would rather drink my coffee black than with milk in it. And that is truly a preference. It's not a food rule, because when I drink coffee with milk in it, it kind of hurts my stomach. So I'm like, I'd rather not. But if the only option is a cappuccino, for example, I might say yes, but I'm not going to be triggered by anxiety around it. Another preference could be, I want a more muscular look for my body. So with a preference, you might be disappointed if you don't get it, but you'll still be okay. So that is the definition of a preference. Now, the definition of a need. A need is a necessity. It's a physical, emotional, or psychological necessity. Without it, your safety, your health, or your essential well-being is compromised. And I really want to stick on, highlight, and emphasize the word safety, because emotional safety, belonging, is a really important psychological need, nervous system need that we must have in order to properly function and survive. And what I often see is that people will think that being in a smaller body or looking a different way is a preference. But if you're being really honest with yourself and you're tapping into your physical response to what it feels like when you think about your current body versus when you think about a smaller body, oftentimes there is this attachment. And you'll hear it in people's language. Like, when I lose weight, then I will feel X. It is conditional. I will feel happy. I will feel confident. I will feel lovable. I will feel accepted. And remember, from a nervous system perspective, we are human beings that are designed to survive. Like, that is our number one need. And if you go back to millions and millions of years ago, a way to survive was to belong, to be part of a social group, to feel like you are in the group, like you are not ostracized. And so if you don't feel like there is this independent sense of safety and belonging and regulation in your current body, and you think that by being in a different body, you will feel that, it is no longer a preference. It is now a need. The reason why it's important to understand the distinction is because we live in a world that is so hyper-focused on women's bodies. And so it actually is super unrealistic to expect someone, especially a woman, who has spent her entire life hating her body, wanting to look differently, trying to lose weight, to then let go of that, because it is so conditioned within us. And so it absolutely is normal if you're starting to heal your relationship with food in your body, to still have that voice in the back of your mind that's like, I would rather be in a smaller body. I would like my body more if it was in a smaller body, if it looked different. And so if that's you and you're feeling like you're doing intuitive eating or healing your relationship with food wrong, you're not. So let's all take a sigh of relief, because you're not doing anything wrong. And in Food Freedom Academy, we have a full module on beliefs and your subconscious mind. And one of the trainings is about body image. Well, more than one, but one specific, we talk about the body image continuum. And it's very unrealistic for anyone to tell you that you're going to go from body loathing, body judgment, body constant criticism to body love, right? There's going to be stages in between it. And you may never get to body love. You may just get to body neutrality or body acceptance. And even then, that is a great place to be, because neutrality means that your body no longer holds this very strong emotional charge. It is neutral. And so I have some weeks where I feel body neutrality. I have some weeks where I feel body love. I'm like, I love my body. This is my body. There's other weeks where I'm just like in acceptance. And actually, for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I've just been in body neutrality. I don't know why, like my body image has been a little off, and like I don't actually know if my body looks any different or if it's just like something going on in my mind. But the thing is that when I have weeks like this of weird body image, it literally does not impact my mood or how I feel about myself. There's this sense of distance between me and my body of like, okay, I am noticing that I'm not loving the way that my body looks lately. And I can also be curious about it of like, is it actually that my body looks different? Or maybe it's just like something internally, because again, body image is the way you perceive your body. It's not actually the way that your body looks. It's the way you perceive your body. And I'm sure you've had those days where one day you look in the mirror and you're like, damn, I look good. And then the next day you're like, who is this whale in front of me? Have you gained 20 pounds overnight? No, but sometimes it can literally feel that way. And so having this neutrality, what it means is that I can personally have a preference about the way that my body looks. I like having like a muscular, lean body. That's just like the way that I like seeing my body. I'm not going to lie to you and say that that's not the case, because again, like we live in a world that is so conditioned to think that way. However, and this is where the nuance comes in, I can look at another woman's body who is curvilicious or someone who's in a bigger body and not have an ounce of judgment or think that their body doesn't look good or that they're less worthy or that they're lazy. Like that does not even cross my mind. Did it years ago when I was struggling with my body image? Absolutely. But because I now have this sense of neutrality, I don't feel that way about other people's bodies. And I can still have a preference about the way that my body looks. However, it is not a need. And what I mean by that is there is nothing attached to the way that my body looks. My worth is not attached to the way that my body looks. My sense of safety is not attached to the way that my body looks. My nervous system can still feel regulated on a bad body image day or on a good body image day. My sense of success does not depend on the way that my body looks. And so a good way to know, is this a preference or is this a need? Is there anything attached to the way that my body looks? And if I were to change, would I still be okay with that? And again, here we are separating health from weight. Because of course, if you are like, well, if I started binging and not taking care of my health, then no, I wouldn't be okay with the way that my body looks. And I get that, but I think that underneath the surface, it would be, I would not be okay because I'm not taking care of my health and it doesn't feel good. Versus if I was still taking care of my health and for some reason I went through a period, like we all go through seasons, where I put on a little weight, I didn't look the same way that I did the last season, I would still be okay with that. In the winter, I tend to put on a little bit of weight because I move less. Like in the summer, I live in a walkable city. I'm walking all the time. I'm always active. I'm always doing something. Whereas in the winter, there is a lot less to do because it is dark and it is snowy and it is cold as F. So I don't do as much. And that's okay. I don't blame myself. I don't shame myself because I'm still eating in a way that feels good. I'm still moving my body in a way that still feels good. And I also can recognize the limitations that I have in the winter. And so I don't dread the winter. Well, I dread the winter for other reasons, but I don't dread the winter in the sense of like, oh my God, I'm going to gain weight and then spiral into anxiety. Because I do know, and we all want to show ourselves compassion for this, but I do know that there are some of you who do experience that the thought of gaining even 5 pounds, 10 pounds feels really, really dysregulating for you. And the level of safety and of belonging and of acceptance and of regulation that you can feel in your current body is going to determine that same level of safety and regulation and acceptance that you would feel in a smaller body. And I know that that can feel so hard to wrap your head around because maybe your entire life you've told yourself, once I lose weight, I will feel this certain way. I will feel happier. I will feel more confident. But if your confidence and your happiness is dependent on the way that your body looks, this is really important, okay? So listen up. If those internal feelings, those internal positive emotions and sensations are dependent on something external, like the way that your body looks, then what do you think is going to happen once you do, if you do get to that body? Because at that body size, your happiness and your confidence, you got there because of this attachment to your body. So then you're going to be in that body. And because your worth and your happiness and your confidence is on the line, what do you think is going to happen if, oh my God, I gained 5 pounds? Oh my God, I might gain weight. Oh my God, I have to be really careful and micromanage everything that I eat because I cannot gain weight. Because if I gain weight, then what's going to happen? This sense of worth and happiness and confidence that you got because it was dependent on your body is now going to go away. So that is the danger of conditioning an internal state on something external. And once you understand this, your entire life is going to change because this happens in every area of our lives. If you can imagine someone's relationship with money, for example, because this is another way that it shows up. When you think about having more money, what would that give you? Really think about it. Like, what words come up for you? Maybe it's more freedom, more safety, more security, more abundance, right? Whatever comes up for you. Now, is it true that there are people who have way more money that both you and me, millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires, who still don't feel free, who still don't feel happy, who still don't feel like it's enough, who still don't feel secure and safe? The answer is yes. There are people, and we see it on this earth, people who hoard resources, who hoard money, and who still don't feel like it's enough. And so if it's not the actual money that gives you those things, if it's not the body that gives you those things, then that means that those things are internally generated. And it takes a lot of personal power to generate those things independent of something external. And once you can have this sense of strong foundation to know, I am worthy, I am safe, I am lovable, I can accept myself, I can love myself at this body or at any body, as long as I am coming from a place of self-love and I'm taking care of myself, this is going to create such a inner sense of stability, because I know that I am worthy independent of what my body looks. And so the thought of maybe in the future going through a period where I gain some weight, it doesn't faze me. It doesn't make me anxious, because I know that my worth is not dependent on the way that I look. And this is a huge change for me, because had you asked me when I was 21, I remember thinking about my future. And this was back when I was trying so hard and doing all of the things and killing myself basically in order to maintain my smaller body that was underweight. And I remember thinking about my future, and this was back when I thought that I would have kids in the future. That has changed. But I would experience this like incredible nervous system response that felt so horrible, so much anxiety, panic, really, when I thought about getting pregnant and then not being able, after giving birth and having to take care of a child, not being able to work out for like 2 hours a day and not being able to micromanage and control every single thing that I eat, and the thought of gaining weight. Like, that was back then, that was my biggest deterrent. Back when I thought that I wanted kids, it was my biggest deterrent of like, I don't know that I could handle my body changing. That is how much attachment I had to the way that my body looks. I wanted to share that with you because that's how much the way that I feel about my body has changed over the years. So all of this to wrap into the question about, is it possible to pursue intuitive eating and to have a healthy relationship with food while also having a preference about the way that my body looks and wanting a leaner body? And the answer is yes, as long as it is a true preference. If it's a need that is driven by anxiety and pressure and dysregulation, then what you will likely notice is that that will slow down your process of healing your relationship with food. And actually, this is so counterintuitive, but the more it is a need, the less likely you are to actually achieve your healthy set point. I'm going to say that again. The more it is a need, the more you attach something to what you think that a smaller body will give you, the less likely it is that you will actually lose the weight or get to that version of your body that is healthy and maintainable and your set point. And the reason for that is I'll take you through a scenario. Let's say that I was in a bigger body and I was approaching weight loss from a place of panic, from a place of anxiety. Like, I need to lose weight because I can't stand being in my current body and I hate it so much and I hate myself and I need to lose weight because I cannot like the way that I am right now. Okay. So what do you think is going to happen when you're coming from that place? There's going to be a lot of rush energy, right? There's going to be a lot of frantic energy. There's going to be a sense of impatience and dysregulation, right? And dysregulation, stress, anxiety, what it does is it puts your body into fight or flight mode. Okay? You're following me? So this frantic need to be in a different body will send your body into fight or flight. When you're in survival mode, when you're in fight or flight or freeze or fawn, right? There's 3 different nervous system responses along with a sense of regulation. I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. But when you are in dysregulation, what happens is your body, your nervous system is in survival mode. And in survival, you're not thinking about the long term, right? Like, think of if you're being chased down the street, you're running as fast as you possibly can. You're not thinking, oh, I should slow down in order to maintain my stamina so I can run as long as possible. You are running as fast as you can in the moment because you are living in a moment-to-moment state. You are only able to think about the short term. So when you're in survival mode, long-term thinking, those higher level capacities, cognitive functions, they go offline. And so you've probably noticed that when you are coming from this frantic energy, the decisions that you make are, let me do something that's going to make me feel better right now. And those are typically going to be extreme behaviors. Either you're going to stop eating as much, you're going to cut out, you're going to restrict, maybe you're going to start going to the gym 7 days a week, right? You're not going to be asking yourself, how can I create a lifestyle that I can sustain, that's going to be balanced, that I can be doing 10 years from now, that I can build on? Like, the view is not going to be long term. The view is going to be, I need to lose weight, right? Emphasis on that need. I need to lose weight in order to feel XYZ. And so the things that you're going to do are going to be rooted in the short term, and often they're not going to be sustainable. And then all of those healthy habits that you've implemented, let's say you're doing it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks if we're lucky, but oftentimes like they fall off after a couple of weeks because they're so extreme and like from 0 to 100. But let's say you're like 5 weeks in, but then you're not losing weight. You are improving your health, but you're not seeing the weight go down. What do you think is going to happen? 2 options. Either you double down and go harder and go more extreme, or option 2, you stop. You stop the healthy habits because you think, what's the point? I'm not losing weight anyways. So this is to highlight and demonstrate what happens when you approach a lifestyle change from a place of need and you attach something to that destination, to the weight loss, to the quote unquote goal body, versus when you approach it from a point of preference. And that's why if you're like, okay, well, Sabrina, I am in that need energy, I am in that frantic energy, and you're starting to see why the attempts that you have done to lose the weight, to get healthier, have just been this like roller coaster yo-yoing of like losing the weight, gaining the weight, losing the weight, gaining the weight, then what we actually need to focus on is not diet and exercise, right? Diet and exercise, that's surface level. We need to go underneath the surface and work with the nervous system, work with the body image, work with the subconscious thoughts and beliefs. Because as long as we don't regulate and create a sense of safety first, then you're going to be caught in this constant hamster wheel of frantic energy, survival mode, thinking about the long term, not having the long game in mind. So I hope that this gave you some clarity that if you are someone who wants a healthy relationship with food, you want to be an intuitive eater, you want to have food freedom, and you also want to feel good in your body, it is so okay if you still have that desire for weight loss. It is so okay if you have a preference for looking a certain way. And it is also so okay if you're noticing that you have this frantic need, because awareness is always the first step to change. But if you do have this frantic need, if there is attachment, then that dysregulation is only going to slow down your process and keep you stuck in that hamster wheel. And that's why so much of the work that we do inside of Food Freedom Academy is that nervous system regulation and uncovering. I'm always listening when we have our members talking. I'm always listening to their language. I'm paying attention to the energy that they're bringing to certain conversations and how they're approaching certain changes, because I'm always on high alert for what might be a problem down the road. How can we make sure that we are nipping it in the bud now, that I'm giving you some strategies, that I'm giving you some exercises to do, so that the way that we are approaching this process is setting you up for success 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. So if you want to learn more about Food Freedom Academy, if you want to work with me inside of the program, you can find that information in the show notes or sabrinamagnan.com/FFA. You can also send me a DM on Instagram and just be like, I heard you talk about it. I would love to know more. Can you help me with this? And I'm happy to have a conversation with you. But I hope that this was so helpful for you. Thank you for listening, because this tells me that you are so dedicated to this process. You are so dedicated to your healing journey. And I do not take that lightly. Not everyone is going to take time out of their day to educate themselves, to better themselves. And you're doing that. And so you should really pat yourself on the back for that. And I'm sure that you have someone in your life who could benefit from hearing this episode. So take the time, share this episode with your loved one. I love you so much. Thank you for listening, and I will see you on the next episode. Hey, real quick before you go, if you're loving this podcast and you're thinking, Sabrina, I want more. I want to go deeper. I want a step-by-step process for healing my relationship with food. I've got a free workshop that literally walks you through it. It's a full breakdown of the exact method that I use to help my clients stop binging, heal emotional eating, and finally feel at peace with food in their bodies. It's totally free. So if you're ready to stop feeling obsessed and out of control with food, head to sabrinamagnan.com/training or find the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it valuable, I would love if you would share it with someone you know that could benefit. If you're loving the show, don't forget to subscribe over on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. I really love hearing feedback from you, so please leave a rating and review over on Apple to help us get in the ears of more people who need it the most. Finally, come hang out with me on Instagram at Sabrina Magna Health for more educational content and get up close and personal with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode.